It is a very dreary day in Southern Illinois, and I have a very dreary topic to talk about for this SNAPlife episode. We're going to talk about relationships in this one. So this will be a relationship video and a SNAPlife. We're going to talk about the dismal truth about that fantasy romance. But let's get out of the wind and let's talk about this. The idea of a fantasy romance stands in Western culture as this thing that people will sit around and they'll say, well, one day my prince will come, or one day I will come upon the damsel in distress and I will do just the right things and say the right things, and the result will be this storybook romance will unfold. And on this dreary day in Southern Illinois, I'm here to say that doesn't really happen. You're not just sitting in your bedroom watching TikTok videos and a prince shows up at the door, knock, knock, knock. Hey, I'm here to take you away. Or you're not just, sitting in the drive-thru at Dairy Queen when a damsel in distress appears over by the parking lot somewhere. Those things are storybooks. That's fantasy out of a storybook. And if you are sitting around waiting for that to happen, if you're waiting for that fantasy romance to just materialize in your life, I'm afraid you're going to be waiting for an indefinite period with no foreseeable probability of that ever happening. The reality about relationships is this: that there is no fantasy storybook romance for the vast majority of people. That happens to characters in storybooks, but for people in real life, the happily ever after comes by taking the relationship that you have and making it happily ever after. And where do you find that relationship that you have? Here's another dreary day reality. Most relationships occur between people, stand by for this. This is going to shock you. Most relationships occur for people who meet each other. And if you're sitting there thinking that somewhere in the world is this person who is the perfect soulmate that's going to complete you, unless you meet them, you'll never know. Now, fortunately, the 21st century provides for meeting people electronically, and there are many, many, many stories about many accounts of people who have met through a video game and became friends and became acquainted, and one thing led to another, and eventually the relationship blossomed into a marriage and they lived happily ever after. Or other places online, some of the dating services online that have led to that happily ever after. But those people that ended up happily ever after actually met. They met electronically, or they met in the building, they met in the break room, they met somewhere, and then they ended up happily ever after. You don't end up happily ever after with someone you don't meet. Now, I know that sounds like, wow, that's just trivially stupid to say that. The sad reality is that the architect who designed your office complex and who put your break room where they put it, and the managers who decided that your work group would work in this set of cubicles and everyone else would work in other sets of cubicles, those decisions affect who you're going to meet, and they have an impact on who you're going to have a relationship with. The guidance counselor that put you in first period English and third period PE inadvertently decided who you're going to have contact with. The club that you sign up for, the extracurricular activity, the sports that you play, those choices affect who you're going to be with, and those people that you're going to be with results in who you could possibly have a relationship with. It's not very romantic. Your guidance counselor decided who you're going to have class with, and that's going to affect your romantic relationships, but it's true. The happily ever after comes to the people who form relationships and work those relationships. There's a saying that Pastor Memphis used to say, and I've heard a rap artist pick this up and say it as well. So it's an expression that has become part of the 21st century culture. The grass is greenest where you water it. The grass isn't greener in some romantic other yard, where over there in some place that I'm not, the grass is greener. The grass is greener where you water it. The relationship that you're longing for will come out of the possibilities of people that you interact with, and then forming that relationship. The grass is greener where you water it. That's all for this dreary day Snap Life episode. I appreciate you watching. Please click the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment, question, or a suggestion. Maybe you have a story about your romantic relationship and how it came to be. I'd love to hear that. Share that with everyone. That's all for this episode. See you in the next one.